Hey, Facebook friends. This is Natalie Hoffman here with flyingfreenow.com. And I thought I would share just little tidbits each day, maybe not every day, but as much as I can, from the Flying Free membership group so that you guys can see a little bit about what I teach in that group. And so today our subject is communicating with others about your dysfunctional partner. And we're going to start today by what the foundational beliefs are that you need to have in place before you can understand this whole communication thing. So the first belief is that your opinion about your life with your spouse is just as valid as the opinions of those who don't live with your spouse. Okay? Your reality is your reality. Your narrative is valid. It's real to you, and that's what matters. So you get to decide what you can and can't live with, and you are not required by God or anyone else to explain, to defend, or to convince anybody on planet Earth about what you've been through. Now, this takes some growing up. You are an adult now. You're not a little girl who has to obey all of your mommies and daddies. You have to live your life before God and God alone. And others don't get to play that role of God in your life. The second belief that you need to have is that you have choices. I know you're scared and none of your choices are pleasant ones, but you do have them. And every choice comes with its own set of challenges and heartaches. If you still think that you have no choices, then you haven't hit rock bottom yet. You haven't come to the end of your rope yet. What you are currently choosing is still working for you, and making a different choice isn't something that you want right now, but you do have choices. If you or your children, let me give a caveat here though, okay? If you or your children are in danger, then you may not have a choice at this time. However, I would recommend calling an abuse hotline and making a safety plan. You can do that. You can plot an escape route. You can find out what your options are and what resources that you do have available to you in your community, okay? So that's really important to reach out and find out from people who are experts at helping women get out of abusive situations that are actually physically dangerous to them or their children. Okay, the third belief system that we have to have in place, or belief that we have to have in place, is that we have to surrender what we don't have control over while taking control of what we do have control over. So we're going to break this down just a little bit. Remembering that your opinion counts and that you have choices, you need to really try hard to stay calm. I know that you can get triggered. Trust me. You can get scared. You can get really, really angry. But if we think about let's just stop for a minute and think about what's causing all of that anxiety and emotion. There's really one main reason why our emotions get on steroids in these situations. We want something, or we feel that we need something that we can't have, and we can't let go of it either. Okay, so it could be that you want a healthy marriage, but instead, you got someone who shames and blames you for everything and treats you like a thing. Maybe you want to keep your financially secure lifestyle, but with that comes marriage to a controlling, manipulative partner. Maybe you want an intact family so that your children can grow up in a family where the mom and the dad are together. But that comes with the job of shielding your kids from also being abused and traumatized by a narcissistic father. Maybe you want to maintain your good reputation in your local church family, but that means that you have to lie and cover up for your husband and help him manage his image so that he remains respected and loved by your church family. You know instinctively that if your husband doesn't change, you're going to have to. And that means potentially losing your marriage, your family, your friends, your church, your reputation, your financial security, and so much more. It just seems like it would be so much easier to get your husband to change. So you try to tell him in a million ways what's happening and that you can't take it anymore. You think if you can get him into counseling, maybe he'll get it. You think if your church elders could get involved and convince him, he'll get it. You think that if you are a better wife and mother and homemaker, he'll get better. And when none of that works, you feel desperate because you have so much hanging on whether or not this man changes. And that's where the anger comes in and the desperation along with it. You want something and you can't get it. James says this is why there are quarrels and fights among us humans. The only way out of this emotional hurricane is through surrender. And I'm not talking about surrendering to abuse. We don't surrender to sin and injustice. We surrender to the things that are not in our control. So we surrender our right to have a healthy marriage. That's not in our control. We surrender our right to have others believe and understand us. We can't control that. We surrender our right to an intact family. At the end of the day, we don't get to decide that. Well, we do, but we can have an intact family, but it might not be healthy. We need to surrender our right to have a church family that loves and supports us. Our right to parent the way we want to parent. Our right to control the lives of our children and what happens to them as they grow up. But you know what? We don't surrender to a black hole or an empty void. We are surrendering to a loving Father who is 100% involved in our lives every moment of every day. And that 100% also involves the lives of our children. We often don't get to see God do incredible things because we're still trying to control everything. We're still saying, no, I really believe that you want me to have this, God. And he's saying, actually, I've got a different plan. When we're still driving our car and we've got him in the back seat waiting for us to hit a dead end, it doesn't feel good. What if you switched places and let him drive for a change? Now, he might drive you straight into a storm, but that's only because the way out of hell is often through a storm. Do you want out, or do you want to stay and try to make things work on your own? Giving up and surrendering is the way to peace, and peace is what's going to help you keep those emotions from getting out of control. Now, that does not mean you won't be angry or sad or frustrated. You're going to feel all of those things, and you should. You're a human being. You would be dead. You wouldn't even have a pulse if you didn't feel those things, okay? It doesn't mean you're not going to say the F word now and then. It just means that your emotions are no longer going to dictate your decisions. All right, you're going to learn how to manage those emotions and how to use those emotions to your advantage, because you, at the end of the day, you are the only thing in your life that you can control. If everyone gave up trying to control other people and just controlled themselves, think of what a lovely world this would be. Okay, so the 3 foundational things to remember are: number 1, your reality counts. Number 2, you have choices. They may not all be comfortable choices, but you do have them. And number 3, you must surrender what you don't have control over while taking control of what you do have control over. This is going to enable you to get a hold of your emotions and stay as calm as possible when you are communicating to other people about your dysfunctional partner. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about what you do and don't communicate to others about your situation. And if you don't get on here live tomorrow, you can always watch the replay. It'll just be here on Facebook. I might post these over on YouTube as well so that people can easily find them. Now, this is an excerpt from one of the lessons in the Flying Free membership community. There are 12 courses in that community, and this is number 2, the second course, which is dealing with a dysfunctional relationship. You can find out more at joinflyingfree.com. I'll let you know that right now I'm going to have some really good promos going on for people who are already members. So if you're a member, you're going to be able to sign up at an even better price. And also, for those of you who aren't members, the price is going up on January 1st, 2020, because there is so much content in there after 2.5 years that it is worth, and you get access to all of it when you join. So it's worth joining at a higher price point. And so that's what we're doing. I want to add some more staff to my team in 2020. And so we need to fund that. The price is going up to $25 a month or $250 for a year. And right now it's only $20 a month or $200 for an entire year. So check it out. And also, if you're not on my mailing list and you want to get content that doesn't cost a thing, hop on my mailing list on my website, which is flyingfreenow.com. At the top of my website, you can get on my mailing list. And when you do, I will send you the first 3 chapters of my book for free. It's Is It Me? Making Sense of Your Confusing Marriage. And the exciting thing is I have a workbook coming out really, really soon. And when it does, what I'm going to offer on my website is the first chapter of my book and the first chapter of the workbook, so that you can actually work through the workbook and the book on your own, and then you can decide if you think that it's something that would be helpful to you in the future. All right, that's it. Fly free.